Hello, I'm Paul, and this is Paul Plays with Fire. Welcome. Come on in and grab a chair. Today on the show, we're going to be making a St. Louis Slinger. What is a St. Louis Slinger, you ask? It's a double order of hash browns, topped with 2 smashed cheeseburgers, then topped with a couple of fried eggs, and finally topped with chili, cheese, and onions. And a St. Louis Slinger is usually enjoyed best when eaten late at night after a night of poor decisions, if you know what I mean. So let's get busy. I'm hungry. Before we get started, we should talk through our ingredients real quick. First of all, like I said, we're starting with hash browns. Now normally, when it comes to hash browns, I use the Idahoan, but I've been having a hard time getting those in a single carton through, that Jungle website. And I've had to resort to using the Walmart variety, which is Hungry Jack's, which is pretty darn good. They're just not very big. But anyway, from what I've figured out, you can use them interchangeably. I really do prefer the big box because I like my hash browns. And so we rehydrate those. And this is a box of the Hungry Jack hash browns rehydrated. It's about 2.5 cups of hash browns and 2.5 cups of near boiling water. And then they're ready in about 10 minutes. The hotter the water, the quicker they're ready. And then I said we have a couple of Smashburgers. So we got our Smashburger balls. We're gonna smash those down in the griddle and add some American cheese on top of them. Next up, we got the next layer is fried eggs. We're gonna find some room on the griddle someplace to put some fried eggs. I'm not sure where, but we'll find some room. And then we got chili. Now this time, we're not gonna make chili. We've made chili before. We have made our hot dog chili. It's up here and here. And we've had really good success. We really like that. So I've made it a couple different times and I just freeze a little bit. It's just a little 2-cup measure, but it's just enough to put on some burgers or some hot dogs or whatever we have. And boy, is it good. And then we've got some shredded cheddar to go on top of the chili. And then we're gonna shred up an onion to go on top of everything else. We're not gonna put a whole onion on, but you get the general idea. So let's get busy. We're going to get the griddle going and we'll get started on this. And I gotta admit, I have not made this before. I've made all the individual components many, many times. This will be the first time they've been assembled like this, so this will be fun. We'll see you in a little bit after we heat the griddle up. Well, we've got our griddle heated up, so we're gonna put a little avocado oil down. We're gonna use a combination of avocado oil and butter for our hash browns. We'll just put a little down. And we don't have a whole lot of hash browns to do here, so it's not gonna take too much. Smear that around a little bit. We'll put the avocado oil on the bottom, and then we'll put the butter on the top to kind of gradually melt through the hash browns as they go. Now we've got our 2.5 cups of dried hash browns and 2.5 cups of water that's turned into a little over 4 cups of hash browns. And we're just gonna make that out into a nice orderly piece on here so that we can later chop it up into about 3 pieces. We've got more hash browns than we need, but that's okay. Somehow hash browns around here get eaten up when there's too much. So we're gonna form that into 3 nice orderly pieces somehow. And then just let that go for a little bit. Because if you've watched the show before, you know, 1, I love my hash browns. And 2, the secret to hash browns is butter and neglect. And I'm really good at both of those things. So that's what we're gonna do today. Butter and neglect. And I did a video on hash browns a while ago. You can find it here and here. It'll talk, I did hash browns 4 different ways. I did fresh hash browns where I grated up the potatoes. And then I also did frozen hash browns. I did dehydrated hash browns, and I did sweet potato hash browns. That was very interesting. That was really good too. Not something you want to do every day, but okay, we'll go out there, and that we've got about the size a little bigger than a hamburger patty, since the hamburger patty is the next layer. So we're going to make them about this size, put them on the plate, and then put the hamburger patty right onto them. There we go. It's a nice orderly pile of hash browns. We're gonna go ahead and cut those here and here. Put some butter onto them. Pulled my fork down onto the griddle. Of course, then this one doesn't stick, but hold my fork down onto the griddle in order to heat it up a little bit so that the butter will slide off it. And these hash browns come pre-seasoned. I don't add any salt or pepper or anything to them. There's really nothing you need to do other than a little butter and a little neglect. Okay, that'll be it for the butter for now. We'll cover that back up. And we'll just let those hash browns sit for probably 20 minutes. I was cooking hash browns for family the other day. We had a couple different events we've had here where we had everybody in and cooked for my side of the family and Mrs. Paul Player's side of the family different times. And I've had to put these hash browns on. I put a big old, covered this whole half side in hash browns. And I left them on there for an hour and I could not burn the darn things. As much as I tried, I could not burn them. They were crispy, don't get me wrong. They were plenty crispy, but I couldn't burn them. I couldn't overcook them. I'll try harder next time. Okay, as soon as these hash browns are sufficiently neglected, we can get the whole rest of the thing going. See you in a bit. See you then. Well, our hash browns have come right along. I'm just gonna move them off to the side. I think they'll move. This burner is off, so they'll keep a little better that way. Now, just to show you, we've got an extra set of hash browns, so I'm going to flip this one over just to show you what we got. Look at that. Isn't that just perfect? Isn't that just the picture perfect hash brown? And that'll keep like that for quite a while, especially on a warmish burner. Now we've got our hash browns squared away where they'll keep off to the side. We're gonna end up doing our eggs in here eventually, and then we're gonna do our burgers over here. And I've also started the chili. I mean, there wasn't too much to start in the chili. It was just basic leftover chili that I put into a pan and put on the griddle until it gets warmed up. But look at that, doesn't that just look beautiful? And boy, I wish I had smell-o-vision because it smells so good. So I think we're gonna probably put this over here out of the way too. And that way we can turn these burners up and get them warm enough to do some burgers. Because Smashburgers need to be kind of hot. These need to be closer to 450, 500 degrees because they really need to sear a little bit. And we're gonna be doing our Smashburgers Oklahoma onion burger style, meaning we put the onions down and then smash the burgers into the onions. I did a video on that a while ago. Sorry to do this again, but here and here. Did a video on that a while ago, and it is so good. I made it for family. They were beside themselves with how good it was. We're gonna turn that one down. So we're just gonna wait a little bit and wait for this to heat up, and then we'll be right back. Okay, I think we have all our ducks in a row. We've got our burger space, about 450, 460, that's hot enough for burgers. That's gonna make a nice smash burger. And this is about 315. This is where we're gonna do our eggs on this third burner. And then we've got the hash browns over here. And we've been just periodically turning the burner off and on. We don't want them to get cold, but we don't want them to get burnt either. But I think they'll be fine just the way they are. And our chili is coming along nicely. It smells so good. Like I said, we're making Oklahoma onion burgers. And if you don't know the story, back in the 30s, some enterprising fellow in Oklahoma, when meat was expensive and times were tough and onions were cheap, he put some onions down on the grill, smashed his burger into the onions, and then griddled it up that way for you. Know, people were lined up around the block just because of the smell alone. So that's what we're gonna do. We've got some onions that we have very thinly sliced. And we're gonna put that down on the two different spots on the hottest part of the grill. That's about a half an onion for 2 burgers. That's about right. And we purposely also have not put any real lubrication or any oil or anything on the griddle because we want them to kind of stick a little bit. That's a part of the mystique. So we'll kind of shape those up a little bit. We'll shape those up a little bit, and then we'll take our burger balls. We got two, about 3.5 ounce, 4 ounce burger balls, not over 4 ounces. 4 ounces is too big. And we'll put those right on top of the onions, just like that. And then we'll take a little parchment paper they cut, about the right size for our hash browns. We'll take that and we'll just smush that right down into the onions. Oh, the smell. Ugh. There we go. Just like that. Now let those sit a little bit. Meanwhile, we got to get our eggs going. Let's see, let's check our temperature. We're at about 320. Right in here is about 320 degrees, which is just perfect for an egg. So we're going to put a little butter down. You can also tell if you don't have a thermometer, and I highly recommend an infrared thermometer, but if you don't have one, you can just tell from the way your butter melts how hot your griddle is. You go over here, that's too hot for an egg. You go over here, it's a little too cold for an egg. So the sweet spot is about right here. So we're just gonna make that big enough for 2 eggs. We'll crack 2 eggs around onto there. And then we'll put a little salt and pepper onto them. And while we're at it, we'll go ahead and put a little salt and pepper onto the burgers too, because they need it. Oh, this is starting to look really good. Starting to look really good. Oh, there. It's all coming into place. Just kind of want to tuck those onions up in there so they cook together with the beef. And like I said, I did not put any oil or any other fat on the surface. The meat has a lot of fat by itself, and the onions kind of help keep it from sticking, but you do have to be a little careful when you flip it, just to make sure it doesn't stick. We're getting there. The eggs are getting there too. Okay, this time. There. And we'll try and move that to a fresh spot on the griddle when we flip so we get a little more heat out of it. Oh, this is going to be so good. We'll put a little cheese onto them. We're using American cheese because it's traditional. Nothing melts like it. I should also notice how the onions just kind of disappeared in there. They just melt into the meat, and that's just the way you want it. Go ahead and cover those up a little bit so that they melt. We'll flip those eggs. Yay, no broken yolks. Okay, we'll move those back out of the way. So we have some place to put it all together. Okay, we're gonna start with a layer of hash browns, the way everything should. That looks nice. Go right there. Looks nice, we'll go right there. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to make 2 separate stacks and leave a little room for chili to pile up in the middle. Okay, now we got our burgers. Look at that. Look at that. Now we got our eggs. That's 3/4 of it right there. Goodness, look at that. Oh, I'm so excited. And then we got our chili. That sweet, sweet hot dog chili, that Cincinnati chili. Let's put some chili right down the middle, just to fill up that space. There you go. Plenty of room for chili that way, and yet we can still see all the other ingredients. It's not my usual MO where I cover everything up with everything. And we're gonna put a little cheese onto that. And just a little bit of onions to give it a little kick at the end. Oh, boy, now, I made a lot of things on the show. I made a lot of things that were really good, but this is so right in my wheelhouse. It's got all my favorite things. It's got Smashburgers. It's got hash browns. It's got runny eggs. It's got hot dog chili. How could this not be wrong? How could this not be good? And just take a look at it. That chili holds up too. Look at that. Burner's off. Okay, time to dig in. Oh, what have I done? This looks so good. I hope you can hear the crunch of the hash browns. I have not had hash browns with this hot dog chili before either, so that is a treat by itself. We'll dig into our Smashburgers and our egg all at the same time. Like I said, I made a lot of things, but man, that's good. That is so good. And I gotta have at least one bite with eggs, hash browns, chili, and burger. Gonna be a big bite. Boy, I don't know. I don't know how I'm ever gonna top this. That is really, really good. I highly recommend you make it at home if you ever have the chance. And you have a big enough grill to put it all together. But, so good. St. Louis Slinger, people. I highly recommend it. This has been Paul Plays with Fire. Thanks for watching.